先生のお話で、大学の役割として政府に政策決定などで働きかけをすべきという点を大変興味深く伺ったんですが、その中で減災法案を当てに働きかけて作ったということを伺いました。私も法律専攻なので、そのあたり大学が政府への政策的な働きかけ、中でも法律関係の働きかけについてもう少し詳しく教えていただければありがたいです。
Thank you very much, Lee Sensei, for the question. Yes, it's related to advocating disaster education law in Aceh. Actually, we started it from 2 or 3 years ago, yeah, just after the earthquake in Pidijaya. But at that time, since the awareness of local government still not so good, so we are not proceed much. Yeah. But then recently, with the recent situation in Indonesia as a whole, we then interact more intensively with the local government, and we prepare kind of like an academic study, I mean the feasibility study, the urgency and something. So we studied, we provide that kind of study to the government, and we highlight the urgency and the need of kind of disaster education law. Then the local government provide a very good response. Yeah. And now it is not in place yet, but it's already in the in local parliament, So they will discuss and how to say, they will work on that in this year, and hopefully before the end of this year, so that's already passed the parliament. And then let's say in 2020 we have disaster education act in Aceh. And fortunately, I don't know if I can say fortunate or unfortunate, but this recent situation in Indonesia in general also provide a big push on that, because our president as well really concerned on disaster education. So I'm convinced next year probably we will have a local disaster education act. Thank you very much.
はい、防災教育法と、これアチェ州の学校教育において防災教育を導入しましょうという法律なんですよね。はい、ありがとうございます。はい、他に質問がある方いらっしゃいますか。はい、よろしくお願いします。
すみません、何度も、コードという NGO の吉椿と言います。先ほどの大学と大学の役割についてなんですけど、2006年の時に、ジャーチューブ自身では、ガジャマド大学なんかが、カンカン N っていうね、課外授業をやってたことが、それが結果的にその地域のボランティアにつながっていって、非常に復興の役割を果たしたと思うんですけど、その後、インドネシアの先生のお二人に聞きたいんですけど、その後、そういうカンカン N が被災地なんかで、学生たちがボランティアだったりとか、そういうことがもし生かされているのであれば、そういう事例を教えていただければと思います。よろしくお願いします。
はい、では、カイル先生、ウィドリックさん、どちらか、はい、はい、よろしくお願いいたします。
Thank you very much for the question. It's related to the example of student volunteering in disaster area. Okay, in our case, I mean, Syakola University in Aceh, the involvement of the students and also the academic staff really depend on what kind of the background. For example, for medical related program students and also the staff, so they provide mostly on the medical support to the affected society. And the other one, if I can inform you about our latest involvement, just after the Pidijaya earthquake, it was in late 2006. Yeah. Then the university established a task force, and at that time I was the asked to chair, to coordinate the task force. Then this task force provides short-term and long-term support to the local government. So I forgot to mention that Pidijaya is about 80 kilometers from Banda Aceh, so it's not the same location as our university, but kind of 8 kilometers, 80 kilometers. So for the short term, we really work with the emergency need, provide the medical and then logistic support to the local or affected communities. But at the same time, we support the government in terms of providing or composing the recovery plan, because at that time it's difficult for the local staff to understand the way or the comprehensive way in providing the recovery plan. And also for the students, they work with the communities, not only in emergency time, but also after that. For example, they work with the school. I mean, they provide some basic just education integrated with some activities with the students at schools in the affected areas. And also, we have a kind of community engagement program. So students, before they graduate, they should stay with the community for at least 3 or 4 months. In this case, then they live with the communities for 3 or 4 months, and they provide the kind of identifying the local hazard, and providing some information how to mitigate this kind of hazard, or composing risk map for the local communities. And on the other sector as well, like religious activities, cultural activities, they are required in need. But that's, I think, several examples that we provide. And based on that, I think we have to promote more effort and then activities to other part of the region in Aceh. And on the other hand, we also provide kind of, we host several activities coming from outside Aceh. So students from outside Aceh kind of like engage with the communities, and also providing some basic training or summer camp activities like that. So in the next program we already proposed to university. So we have 4 years normal time for undergraduate. So we hope in the first year we introduce them to the basic concept of disaster risk reduction is mandatory course, and then after that, every year we have a possibility to conduct annual exercise or annual drill. And then before they graduate, they have to engage with the community. So at least we can have a basic and we can integrate between the course and also kind of experiential learning, this exercise and engagement with the community. So the kind of plan that we would like to then extend in our university. Thank you.
はい、というお答えでした。よろしいですか。